the theme for February is wholehearted living. Wholehearted living. And I got that title from the work of Brene Brown. Has anyone read any of Dr. Brene Brown's books? I'm reading the Daring Greatly one at the moment, which is wonderful. And so I'll be speaking on her book on the last Sunday of the month. Wholehearted living, what does that mean? Last week I talked about taking care of your soul. And we went deep into what is the soul? And how do we take care of our soul? And this week I'm going to be exploring our mind. How do we take care of our mind? We're put on this planet, or we show up on this planet, or we chose to be on this planet, however you like to look at it. Here we are. These beautiful individual beings, each one of us unique, but each one of us part of the same one human family, each of us equipped with this wonderful body that is adapted to this environment. This planet is suited perfectly for us. It supports us, our life. It gives us everything we need to thrive and to have fun. It offers many different opportunities for us to enjoy experiences. Now, as I'm saying this, I would think that your hearts are lighting up just recognizing this, but some of you don't show that on your face. So if you're feeling that you're glad you're alive and you're glad you have this body and you're really enjoying the riches of Mother Nature, just woo! It's really amazing that I'm teaching a class at the moment based on the book The Spontaneous Fulfillment of Desire by Dr. Deepak Chopra. And he talks about the improbability of us even being here on this planet. That things had to be just so from the way back, from the Big Bang, all the way spiraling forward as evolution spiraled forward. It took things just to be at a certain place, at a certain this, at a certain temperature, for life to be able to be formed here today on this planet. It truly is amazing that we're alive and that this planet is here and that we are a direct match for each other, that everything we need, it supplies. That's amazing. And it's a wonderful gift that we've been given. So not only do we have this perfect body suited for our environment, we have a wonderful mind, a brain and a mind that are perfectly suited for us to navigate this environment. Do you think? Yes. Yeah. So then why is it that we're not all thriving and succeeding and having the most wonderful experience we can have? That's right, I see Felicia back there. The thoughts we think.
Blocks we put up.
Yeah, the blocks that we put up, those false thoughts that we think. So unfortunately, and I think this is also a part of our evolution. We're still evolving as a species. By the way, I'm getting very cold. It feels like the air conditioning's on. Could someone?
It is cold.
Could someone? Thank you. Clint's going. Thank you, Clint.
You're welcome.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, we're on this evolutionary spiral and we're still evolving. And I believe that this is what all these teachings about spiritual awakening are for. So that we can adopt some new ways of realizing who we really are, so we're even better suited for this earth journey. So today I want to explore the mind and offer you some ideas as to what might be holding you back, holding us back as a species, in taking that next step forward from having our mind, our ego mind, our little mind, dictate our choices and dictate our experience to our divine mind, our true identity, making the choices and dictating our experience. Sound good? Okay. So I studied a few books to come up with this information. And the first one was one of Jack Canfield's books. And I keep saying these, and you chuckle, you must have just been reading them. So he talks about the inner coach or the inner critic. And I love this concept. Have you ever heard that voice inside your mind?
Never.
No, maybe you just thought it was you, or you didn't know where, or you hadn't been aware that there was a voice. But have you noticed there's that voice, and it's not really you, but it sounds like it's someone else, but it kind of sounds like you? You know what I'm saying? And it's really negative, and it's really, it like beats you up, and it feels like it's your worst critic. Yeah? Okay, so let's show of hands, because sometimes we feel like we're all like in this by ourselves. It seems like all of us, we've all experienced that negative voice inside of ourselves. So, research indicates that the average person talks to himself or herself about 50,000 times a day. Okay, so you're not insane. This is happening to all of us. And most of that self-talk is about yourself. And according to psychological researchers, it is 80% negative. 80%, 80% of that inner monologue is negative. We know from the research that these thoughts have a powerful effect on us. They affect our attitude, our psychology, our physiology, our motivation to act. Our negative thoughts actually control our behavior. They make us stutter, spill things, forget our lines, break out in sweat, breathe shallowly, feel scared, and taken to extreme, they can either paralyze or kill us. Now that's kind of a rude awakening. It's shocking to actually think of it that way. But many people have taken their own lives. Why? They're listening to something inside of themselves that's not even themselves. Where does that voice come from? Where does that voice come from? It seems like it's not even personal to us. Those negative thoughts that we think seem to be occurring, like it seems like it's in the ethers, and it just rises up inside your mind every once in a while. Have you ever had the experience one day you've just got all these negative thoughts kind of circling through, and then the next day they're all gone? Have you ever felt that? You're like, what happened to that? I'm feeling good today. Oh, well, never mind. I'll just move on and have this better experience today. So that leads you to tell me, and I've experienced enough myself, that those aren't my thoughts. They're just the thoughts that seem to circle around the globe, the collective unconscious, the collective consciousness. That if the situation's right, if we're not mastering our minds, if we're not holding God at the door of our minds, they're likely to pop up when we believe them. You're not good enough. You're too old. You're too young. You can't do that. But we don't have to believe that. Once we know this, we can do something about it. We can stand God at the door of our minds. And we can consciously choose the thoughts we think. Someone said, change your thinking, change your life. You ever heard that? Good. Just There's a wonderful teacher, his name's Muji, and he's the one that I stole the title of my talk today, Keep Your Mind in Your Heart. Keep your mind in your heart. So when one of those thoughts come, I'm not good enough, you just remember who you really are. You're a loving divine being. You're a child of the divine, here to share love with the world. I'm not good enough. I sink down into my heart and I remember who I am. I am a child of the divine. I am precious and I am unique. And we just allow those thoughts to just settle in our heart. And our heart has infinite love, eternal love. It has enough love to dispel any false thought or any illusion, like I'm not good enough. So Muji says, no thought has any power. Do you hear that? No thought has any power. You have power. And when you identify and believe in the thought, you give power to the thought. I don't quite agree with him because I think thought does have power. But I like the fact that he's saying, you give it power. It only has power if you give it attention. Right? Okay. No thought has any power. You have power. And when you identify and believe in the thought, you give power to the thought. So we have to learn to speak the language of love in our own minds, to ourselves, and to those around us. Because you just saw how many people raised their hands that had that negative nonsense going on. And we just heard that studies show that 80% of what's going on in a majority of the people is negative. So do we really need to be criticizing, judging, and having opinions about people when it's really none of our business and they're already dealing with that inner critic? Do we need to add to that? No, so maybe it's not our role to be judgmental. Maybe it's not our role to give people a piece of our mind. Because if 80% of it is negative, can you really trust that what your judgment or your criticism or your opinion has any value? Especially if it's negative. So maybe this week, homework exercise number 1 is to not share your negative judgments and opinions and criticism. Are you willing to try that this week? Do a little experiment. Okay. So the article went on to say, so what if you could learn to always talk to yourself like a winner instead of a loser? I like that. What if you could transform your negative self-talk into positive self-talk? What if you could silence your thoughts of lack and limitation and replace them with thoughts of unlimited possibility? What if you could replace any victim language in your thoughts with a language of empowerment? And what if you could transform your inner critic who judges your every move into a supportive inner coach who would encourage you and give you confidence as you face new situations and risks? Well, all of that is possible with a little awareness, focus, and intention. So what if you turned that inner critic into an inner coach? What kind of things would you be saying to yourself? What kind of encouragement would you give yourself when you're uncertain, when you're feeling fearful, when you're apprehensive, when you're feeling sad? Now, many of us don't even take time to acknowledge what we're feeling. We just stuff it down, or we have a drink, or we turn on the television, or we numb ourselves in some way so we don't experience that pain. What if that you took that time to simply know that you need to take radical care of yourself? No one else can do it quite like you. So you maybe take 5 minutes. You go to a special place, maybe you have a meditation room, or maybe you have a place in your home that you feel so comfortable in. And you go to that space and you just put some soft music on, or you light a candle or some incense, and you check in with yourself, and you develop an inner monologue of being positive and kind and caring and supportive. This is utilizing your mind in a very effective way. Instead of denying it, or even worse, listening to it. So the solution, one solution is, bless you, is to remember that you have this powerful mind, and that you can become the master of your mind. And you can become the master of your mind when you get to know it more fully through meditation and through something called inquiry. So you need to, when these automatic negative thoughts just arise, you need to create some distance from them. So whilst you're sitting there in the silence, you just notice, I'm not the mind, I'm that which has a mind. I can see that these thoughts are coming and going, but they're not me. And so you create some distance from them. And then you just observe. You simply just observe it for a while. And you see what it is. And I believe it's the ego mind. It's a part of our brain that hasn't evolved, it hasn't caught up with who we are as spiritual beings. It's kind of a leftover from bygone days when we were individuals that needed that fight and flight response. Maybe when way back in caveman days when we were scared for our life, there was a saber-toothed tiger or something around the corner, and we had to be on high alert all the time. That part of our brain kept us safe. It kept us in tune with the dangers that were happening around us. Well, over time, as we've evolved, there's new parts of our brains that have taken charge, the frontal lobe, but there's still that old reptilian brain back there that's keeping us fearful. And I call that our ego mind. But really, there's no saber-toothed tigers. There's nothing for us to be that fearful of. But that ego part of our mind wants to protect us and wants to keep us safe. So it's always questioning, it's always worrying, it's always trying to control the situation, control the environment to protect us. But my question is, protect us from what? Protect us from what? We need to evolve to not relying on the voice of the ego inside ourselves, but relying on the still small voice within us that really has our best and highest good at heart. So we tune in, we create some distance between ourselves and that mind, we see it. The Buddhists call it the adorable monkey mind. It just pops around, can drive you nuts sometimes, especially during meditation. There it goes, all over the place. So we just simply observe it. And then I like to do some inquiry. I like to ask myself a few questions. Say I have a thought that so-and-so doesn't like me. I might say to myself, is that true? So it's almost like my higher self and my ego self. Is that true? And I think about it with my rational mind and with my heart. And I don't know. And then I ask myself a second question. Can I absolutely know that it's true that that person doesn't like me? I can't know that that's true, no. So then I ask myself a third question. How do I feel? How do I react? What happens when I believe that thought, that so-and-so doesn't like me? I become quiet, I become introverted, I get fearful, I look around, maybe it's true, are there other people that don't like me too? I start building up a case. How do I treat other people then? Well, I don't let them in, I stay guarded. What do I do? Maybe I go have a drink, or I turn on the Kardashians, or some nonsense, I don't know. To keep me from feeling that insecurity, to keep me from looking at that possibility that I'm unlovable. And then the fourth question I ask is, who would I be without that thought? Who would I be without that thought? What if I take that whole story, that blah blah, that nonsense, and I just put it on the shelf over here? I'm not lovable, what do they think of me? I need to watch the Kardashians, blah 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 blah. All that is gone over there. Who would I be without that thought? Oh, I remember who I am. I'm Allie. I'm a part of that amazing community, the Satya community. Yeah, I love to meditate and sing, and I love to do diksha, and I love to read books, and I love to go have tea and coffee with my friends, and I enjoy painting, and I remind myself who I really am. And when I remember who I really am, how do I react? What happens when I'm that person? I'm engaged, I'm creative, I'm living my divine qualities of love and joy and wholeness and peace and creativity, and I experience grace. Now, why did that occur? Because I examined the thoughts I was thinking. I examined the thoughts that I was thinking. Oh my gosh, it's 11:24 already. Can you believe how time flies when we're having so much fun? So those are the 4 questions that I invite you to ask yourself this week. To take time to be with yourself, to notice the activity of the mind, and take a stand back. Michael Singer says in The Untethered Soul, to take that, you just lean back and become the witnessing presence to that that's going on, not only in your mind, but before you. Notice the activity. And when you're in that witnessing place and you're noticing that negative activity, and if you do this long enough, you'll begin to disassociate with it. Doesn't that make sense? You'll begin to disassociate with those thoughts, and then they'll simply fly across the sky of your mind. They'll drift away like a bird flying across the sky, doesn't leave a trace. That's how transitory those negative thoughts and beliefs are. They come and they go, and they happen to all of us. You're not bad because those things happen to you. It's just part of this wonderful human condition. We just learn from it, and we learn about ourselves. And we simply ask those questions. Is it true? Can I absolutely be certain that it's true? How do I react? What happens when I believe that terrible thought? And who would I be without it? So that's my gift for you today. Thank you. So let's pray. I recognize the one absolute loving presence that's available in each and every moment. It's here, it's there, it's everywhere. It's every here, everywhere, every now, every then. Only God. Only truth. This one life, this one presence is presencing itself beautifully in each and every moment. This one life is presencing itself as you, right now. You are a blessing. You are a child of the divine. And as we take this recognition, as we remember, we become a member of who and what we really are, a member of the one. As we remember who we are, we relax and we become still inside ourselves. And all of that chatter simply dissolves and settles down at the bottom, eventually just dissolving into nothingness. And here we are, a being, a pure being of light and love, on this spiritual path, here having this life experience, knowing that each of us, the very core of our being, have a spiritual purpose, have a divine calling to be alive, to be present, to have fun, to be creative, and to give and receive this life experience, pressed down and flowing over. I know for each of us this day that we let go of those negative thoughts, that we take time with ourselves and distancing ourselves from those thoughts, being aware of them, blessing them and releasing them, and remembering who we really are. And this becomes normal and natural every day, as we begin to have a love affair with our own lives and with our own minds. And we simply keep our mind inside our heart, and we share this love with everyone we meet. For this we are blessed, and everyone is blessed. Because what we give, we receive. We live in a reciprocal universe. So let us be a cause for love in our lives. Let us be the cause for love in the lives of many. For this we are blessed, our world is blessed. So I release these words knowing that they're already so. Let's say yes inside our hearts, yes. Yes inside our minds, yes. And join me in saying, so it is. And you know, I like to do an unholy thing by giving ourselves a round of applause. Because I believe that when we clap, we're saying thank you, we've just received something. And so I trust that you will receive something that will feed your soul this week. And now is our time for our offering. And here at the Satya Center, we know that there is an unlimited source of the universe. We call this God. And God is always giving of itself abundantly. And we are part of that. So we practice giving so that we can keep that circulation going, because we know that we live in an abundant universe. So we have a blessing of our offering in our program. And I'd love it if you would read that with me. Joyfully I give with gratitude, for I know that